Welcome back, America. Hugh Hewitt in Studio North. So pleased to welcome back Vic Matus of the Washington Free Beacon, co-host of Getting Hammered fame. Hello, Vic. How are you?
Hello, Hugh. I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. I want to give you props because on the most recent edition of Getting Hammered, you said the conclave, which I believe was taped on Wednesday night or afternoon, you said the conclave would be over by Friday. And you're the only on-air voice I heard. Dwayne thought it would be a quick conclave too, but I mean, you really nailed that. I thought it was going to be a month-long deal till they could come together. So A, kudos. B, I had like 10 Jews and Mary Catherine on Friday after Pope Leo got named. So I had no Catholics to talk with. What do you think of Leo?
No guidance there. No, thank you for having me on. That's right. I called it. I said Friday, but that was what my sources had told me. I think that if we were going to go on for about a month, that would be like the church in crisis. Again, there was 133, my understanding, cardinals who were voting. And after the first day, I believe this is according to, I believe, Cardinal Dolan, who said people started asking him, right? Questo Robert Prevost, right? They're asking, what do you think of this guy? And that's when he started thinking it's going to be him, because Francis had put him in a prime spot. Despite being an American, he put him in a prime spot to be a possible pope, because they don't know everybody, but they all do know these people in prime positions, these cardinals. I'm very hopeful, Hugh. On the one hand, I do believe he is going to continue some of the legacy of Pope Francis, but that what I'm talking about there is care for the poor. Sure, he's focused on climate change and he loves all the migrants. Okay, that's fine. We know where he's coming from. On the other hand, I think there is going to be reconciliation with conservatives in the church, particularly when it comes to, I hope, being able to practice the Latin Mass. He's a very modest man. Not a lot of people in the United States in the clergy actually knew him. So when people were asking Cardinal Dolan what he thinks about Cardinal Prevost, he knew of him, but he didn't know him. And so we're discovering these things. But everything that I've heard, I think is very promising, even based on the vestments he wore, to the things that he's said since and singing the Regina Coeli. I think it's all good things.
Now, Vic, if I ask you right now, you're a Catholic school kid, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You can sing Ave Maria, or you can sing Hail, Holy Queen enthroned above. You can sing all the hymns that we learned, right? So he's a product. He's my age. I mean, he's 6 months older than me. So he's a product of American culture, 60s and 70s. I bet you he knows the Gilligan's Island theme song, Green Acres. I would love to know what his teenage album collection was. He's basically an American kid. You can't take that. I mean, you can take the kid out of America and put him in Peru, but you can't take America out of the kid. Am I right?
Yeah, that's right. And I think a lot of Americans are very excited about finding out things like, oh, he was at the White Sox game during the World Series in the early 2000s, for example. Or, oh, here's a picture of him at this local pizza place. And people are very excited because he's an American. We haven't had this in 2,000 years. He's only the second English-speaking pope the church has ever had in its 2,000 years history, the other one being Adrian IV, who was English. This is very exciting. People are saying, oh, there's no question, he listened to this song, or he read these books, or he watched these shows. This is a great time for us. I think it's invigorating, and it brings more people, I think, who are interested in the church, a greater awareness. And I've been hearing about all sorts of people very excited about this who aren't even Catholic. I mean, you just mentioned it yourself on the previous shows.
Yeah, oh yeah. Everybody kind of wait and see. He's new and he's relatively young, so that's good. I will reserve judgment on what kind of pope he is until after. I just put up a column over at Fox News, and my editors did not like my title, which was the Wonder Years Pope, named for that show about being a kid in the '60s. They retitled it, "Will Pope Leo XIV reverse the anti-American vibe from the last pope?" That's fine. That'll probably get more clicks. They're interested in people reading the thing. And I like the Wonder Years Pope because that's what I think of him as. But I do think he's going to be able to tell us with his first couple of consistories, there'd better be Cardinal Gomez at the end of that. And I would love to see Cardinal Chaput, because the last Pope just did not like America. And there's no getting around it. He did not like us.
That's right. As you know, he was from Argentina, but he was not of the Javier Milei persuasion of Argentinians, as you know. He was very much of a socialist background, pretty much an anti-capitalist, and saw the very dark side of capitalism in a lot of things that the United States had been doing and its approach. And that became very difficult, I think, to deal with and to reconcile for certainly a lot of Catholic Americans, I think. As you mentioned previously, Hugh, the younger generation of those who are interested in Catholicism are more traditional and more conservative leaning. They're not into 12-string guitars and, tambourines at Mass. They want the seriousness. They want the mystique. They like the incense, smells and bells. So it is promising that you're having a shift from this South American to this North American. And you're right. Again, he does have the support I saw of Cardinal Burke. So again, it's promising.
Yeah, he also, I was having lunch where you and I last had lunch, and someone came over to me and said the new pope is a cardinal from Chicago, and I about had a heart attack because I thought he meant Kupich, who, God bless him, is a lefty, and I just thought that's a disaster, and this guy does not strike me as a disaster. He strikes me. If you're a child of the '60s, Vietnam's in the back mirror; it's not in the front mirror, and Leo XIII was big on property rights and down on the communists. He was not pro-socialist, and people are getting this all mixed up. He was for working people, but that's what popes should be. I'm pretty interested to hear this, but do you think he has an album collection, or do you throw that away?
I think he has to have an album collection somewhere, and probably on vinyl. That would be really impressive. I'm not sure what he listens to, but again, he's us. He's an American. You call it the Wonder Years. He's like the Fred Savage of popes. That's kind of exciting.
I think he is the Fred Savage of popes. I absolutely no. Yeah. We got people out there. Vic, can you stay with me through the break? I got to go to a break here. I want to ask you a couple more. I haven't had a Catholic to talk to. The fetching Mrs. Hewitt isn't Catholic. I haven't had a Catholic to talk to about this. So you're my first Catholic that I can kind of clink glasses with. In fact, I addressed about 1,000 Protestants over the weekend. So I get a little Catholic talk. We made a Hail Holy Queen enthroned above. I bet you Vic knows the lyrics to that. I'll test it off air. Stay tuned, America. So I'm back with Vic Matus, who, like me, is a Roman Catholic. Now, Vic, when I was growing up, priests would come to dinner, and they would also hand out report cards. They were serious figures. They were preceded by order and reverence, but they liked to have a drink. They liked to play golf, and with the grown-ups, they would relax. The child abuse scandals really scarred the reputation of many, many good men. Do you think Leo's aware of that, and will he speak to it directly from the See of St. Peter?
I really hope so, because we can no longer have this situation that started really, obviously it's been for, centuries, or how long we don't know, but it became very well documented beginning in the 60s and the 70s, and certainly post-Vatican II, about these sex abuse scandals where priests were, not only did they commit terrible crimes, but they got moved around from, parish to parish, rather than being dealt with forcibly and promptly and being expelled or bringing them to justice. I do hope that Pope Leo XIV does address this very clearly, because we can't have any of this moving around anymore. I hope he deals with, I think the toughest thing he's going to be dealing with is the Vatican Bank. That's a mess. And then, of course, dealing with China. We almost had Cardinal Parolin as the next Pope, I think. That would have made it very complicated. I think he was a runner-up. I don't know for sure, though.
I think he was the leading guy on the odds, but you have sources that I don't have. I just sit back and wait. I'd never even heard of Prevost. I had never heard of him. And I read all this stuff beforehand, but I'm excited that someone from my cultural milieu, I want him to evangelize North America. I want him to evangelize in American English and tell people the gospel isn't a nice story. It's real. And I think he's going to be very effective at that. Do you think he'll do a lot of American media?
I certainly hope so, and I certainly hope he comes to the United States at some point. I imagine that before he comes to the United States, probably the president will go over there first. If you were to ask me right now what's going to happen first. But again, he's 67. He's got many years, God bless and God willing, to go. But when he comes
Vic, I
here,
said he's
it is going
older
to
than
be
I am. I'm
crazy.
69. You're not counting right. Hold on one second. I got to come back with one last question for you with Vic Matus. Vic has got to get his math down. Welcome back, America. I'm Hugh Hewitt with Vic Matus of the Free Beacon, also co-host of Getting Hammered, and I cannot wait to hear him talk with Mary Catherine on Getting Hammered about Leo the 14th. Here's my exit question for you, Vic. I mentioned in my column, do you think he will elevate at least Archbishop Gomez? It's the biggest archdiocese in America, and Archbishop Gomez is from Mexico, and he's a naturalized United States citizen. But I mean, that's very American. And Archbishop Chaput, who's retired now as Archbishop of Philadelphia, he's a Native American. Do you think they'll get their red hats?
Yeah. I hope so. As you know, there's a real opportunity here under Pope Francis. You hate to make a political comparison, but it's sort of like filling in the benches for judges, certainly at the appellate level, and setting them up for the Supreme Court. So there's something similar that can happen here under the reign of Leo the 14th. If he gets a chance, that would be great for Gomez. And I'm with you on this. I mean, with Chaput. And also, I felt the same way when I heard it's somebody from Illinois. My first thought was, no, please, I don't think it's Kupich, please.
No, please. Okay, we would have prayed for the new pope if it had been
Sure.
Cardinal
Sure
Kupich, but he was from left field, from Francis, a gift. It was airmailed to American Catholics who are more traditional, thumbing his nose at us, right? I mean, I don't think non-Catholics quite understand how the last pope was anti-Catholic. Last word, not anti-American.
Yeah.
I mean, he really didn't like us.
That's right. And again, some food for thought as we're moving forward here is to just remember that Robert Prevost is the man that he was. And again, as other people have said, Leo the 14th is now the man who he is, representing 1.4 billion of us, Hugh. And he may take a different approach or tack further in one direction or the other. We don't know. And the best that we can do is offer our prayers.
Yeah, offer our prayers and watch the first consistory. Vic Matus, thank you. Follow him on X at Victorino Matus, and make sure you like and subscribe to Getting Hammered so you can be entertained, as I was this morning. And Vic's got great sources in the Vatican, which I really can't believe, but he called it. Thank you, Vic.